Hello and welcome to the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol, Lawson. If this is your first time joining us, we want to welcome you. It's great to have you with us today. The Rising Generation exists to inspire and equip Christian leaders from all walks of life, from all around the world, to fulfill their God-given potential. By hearing these interviews with established, internationally recognized leaders, we hope you'll be inspired to connect the dots between where you are now and where it is God has called you to be. Now, to receive notifications about future episodes, simply subscribe to our podcast show by either on iTunes if you're on Apple, or on Stitcher, the Stitcher app if you're on Android. You can find out how to do that just by going to our webpage at www.errollawson.com/podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends, share it with your loved ones. Hopefully they will also benefit from the content. Guys, thanks for listening. Before we go into today's show, here's some news for you. Hey guys, how you doing? It's Errol here. Hope you're doing great today. Before we go into our interview today, I want to give you just a bit of a heads up on our Rising Generation campaign that started on the 1st of October. Now, if you're not aware already, we've been doing these interviews now. We've taken some of the nuggets from the interviews and put them into a fantastic book, a resource called The Rising Generation, which is an amazing resource for emerging leaders, established leaders that will help you to step into your biggest challenges and become the leader that God has designed you to be. Now, the way the campaign works is this. Our goal is to get 1,000 pre-orders of the book between now and the end of October, and all the profits from the campaign are going to go towards our work in Africa, in Ghana. We're working with young people and giving them leadership training and soft skills training and even more. And so for the last 15 years, I've been working as a leadership coach, a consultant, working in education and in business. You can check out my website for more information. I'm a John Maxwell trained coach, speaker and trainer. My appeal to you today is this. I want to offer my services to you, to your church, to your business, to your organization, to you as an individual in return for your support for this campaign. Let me give you an example of some of the packages that I'm offering to you. If you were to pre-order 150 copies of the Rising Generation book for your team, for your organization, for your church, or for your business, in return, I would offer you firstly a 90-minute live keynote address on a leadership topic of your choice, along with a Q&A for your organization or team. I'd also offer you a one-day leadership workshop for your team or organization, again on a leadership topic of your choice. And also, in addition to that, give you a free half-day one-to-one or group coaching session, again for yourself as a leader or for your core team or for your wider team on a leadership topic of your choice, all in return for your contribution, which is a $5,000 contribution. You're going to get $8,900 worth of value for your investment, and all the profit goes to the work in Ghana. How awesome is that? And there's similar packages. There's so many offers I've got. Another option is the $1,500 package, which for your $1,500 contribution, you'll get 20 copies of the book for your team or organization. And also a one-day leadership workshop with myself, again for your team, your organization. I'll come in and train your team on a leadership topic of your choice. How amazing is that? So much value. And there are many more offers in line with your budget, what you're able to invest. I want to reach out to you guys. Go and check out the website to make this campaign a success. We really need your support. I'm banking on you. So please share this with your friends and help us to spread the word. We appreciate you. God bless you. Enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome again to the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with myself, Errol Lawson, and our special guest today. Joining us all the way from Johannesburg is Jan Robberts. Jan is the co-founder of Key Leadership Institute, based in Johannesburg in South Africa. He's also an international inspirational speaker. He's a certified coach and trainer, a mentor with the John Maxwell coaching, speaking and training team. And he's part of the President's Advisory Council there at the John Maxwell Team. He's done years of intensive training with the ICF, accredited global coaching company. He's done so much. He's a part of Les Brown's Platinum Speakers. So you know he's carrying weight, right? So Jan, thank you very much for joining us today, Jan.
Yes, and thank you very much, Errol. It's always a pleasure. I've been following you for quite a while, ever since I got to know about you. And it's always wonderful to connect with like-minded and inspirational people. So it's the honor and pleasure is all mine.
Awesome. Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Jan, before we go into our interview today, please fill in any gaps in your biography right there and give us a glimpse into what you're up to right now in the world.
Yes, well, the story will come out, but what I'm up to right now is we are based in South Africa, and that's and as I say to most people, I sometimes think, is it a coincidence? And Les Brown, one of my mentors, says there is no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. And when I look back in everything that's happened in my life so far, this is very true for me too. And I think if everybody looks back, they think, is that really a coincidence? But for me, here being in Johannesburg just now, we have set up a leadership institute based in Johannesburg, but we're traveling everywhere where we are called. And I've been in some wonderful places already, and I feel blessed about that. But we do leadership training, we do coaching, we do mentoring. Very passionate about youth, because I think at the moment there is a severe lack of proper leadership, proper guidance, and proper values within our youth. And I believe passionately that it's better to prepare our youth than to repair them. And that's what I think with all the grace we've been given and the knowledge that we get from everywhere and meeting with like-minded people. Here in Johannesburg as well, we were actually supposed to be going to Zimbabwe this week to do a training, but there is a lot of major challenges there just now. But we go to corporations, we go to youth organizations, we're waiting to go into prison.
Okay.
Government, so it's just a wonderful
it's great,
life,
man.
and I can honestly say I love what I do.
Brilliant, man. Tell us, and how did you get into it? Like, how did you get into what it is that you're doing right now? What were you doing beforehand, and what was the transition to what you're doing right now?
Great question, and I will try to keep the answer short, but I was right back to my youth. I got bullied. I was a little dumpling, if you like, a little fat kind of kid. And, I got bullied when I was little, and this left me challenging myself. Even at 12 years old, when I grew this, I'm now 6'4", and I grew this height when I was 12, so people stopped bullying me. But what really happened after that, something worse happened. And I think for our youth, it's very important to realize this. And although they stopped bullying me, the self-critic started to kick in, and I started bullying myself for some years. So at 16, I got an ulcer. I decided at 17 I can't live the rest of my life like this, because it's only executives and busy people and all this kind of older people who get ulcers, but not kids. So I came across a book, How to Win Friends with Influence People. Somebody gave it to me, and there I started my personal development journey. Now this has been going. In the early 20s, I started getting into the oil industry and doing pipeline inspection. And people say, it's a wonderful industry because you get to travel the world and you see things. I spent 10 months of the year in hotel rooms. Now, but one thing I never gave up after 17 is kept developing myself personally, because I needed it, and I still need it. So I started getting into coaching. As you said, I've been an accredited coach since 2009.
So what made you get into it? What made you kind of go from being in that kind of corporate world to like being a coach, speaker, and trainer? Like, what was the jump? What was the leap?
Yeah, well, that actually, I was still actually working in the oil industry, but spending that much time in hotel rooms, I was personal developing. And somebody said to me, I got a message, and it said, becoming a coach can make you a better listener and a better question asker. And I thought, well, I'm personal development, I can do it, because I always thought that a coach is somebody who works with sports and all that, being involved in that as well. So I started going into coaching, and from there I met somebody else who was in this 2-year coaching training. She actually got into the John Maxwell Team. Now she invited me to a mastermind group. See, the coincidences are not there. It's all happening. And I was still working for the company, the oil inspection company. But then I attended this mastermind, and they gave me a video, a day about books with John Maxwell. Now, John Maxwell, for those who don't really know who he is yet, he's the #1 leadership expert in the world. He's written 102 books and growing in that area. And I said, I want to be part of his team. I didn't even know how much it cost yet, but what he said was he wanted to leave. And he's, of course, from a pastoral background. His father at 94 still preaches which is wonderful. We've had him at our training events. And I said then, what attracted me is not the money. And don't get me wrong. And anybody thinks, we're not interested in money. We all need money to survive. And I say, I would like to become a billionaire because I can do a lot more with money than without it. But what happened was, when I listened to him, John never mentioned money. He mentioned leaving a legacy and making a difference. And this is what attracted me. So
that's great.
I joined the team. Then in 2013, in February, he asked at our 6-monthly get-together in Orlando for volunteers. He was looking for volunteers who would like to go and help transform our country. Now, to me, I thought, if I get asked and honored to go, I don't care what it takes, but I'm going.
Yeah.
So in June 2013, we went to Guatemala. People say, why did they choose Guatemala? Guatemala has got nearly 15 million people. The average age is only 20. Hunger, poverty, civil wars, genocides, all the niceties we don't hear about. And because of the severe poverty and hunger, most people were very short as well because they were.
So you went over and you started coaching over there as well with John's team.
What we did over there was for a week. 150 of us from around the world went. We had the honor and privilege to go there.
Yeah.
We trained 19,000 leaders in a week to become facilitators in the process of values-based leadership. That leadership, on the way home, what I saw there, it was a simple process, and most good things are simple. But what I saw there impacted me so much. We knew we were going to help transform our country, but we never had any idea how much he was going to transform us. And John Maxwell always said beforehand, when you have tasted significance, success will never be enough. And I said to myself, what is that? But it's there that we found it. And then we realized, significance is doing something for somebody else. And when we saw the hope and the tears in the eyes of these people, on the way home, I quit my job. I was 30 years in the oil industry. On the way home, I actually said, that this is it. Because, anybody who will get in a job, at some point they get comfortable because it pays the bills. And we make excuses for ourselves not to do the things we were meant to do. And I was with them. I must say, I never hated my job, although 75 to 80% of people hated to do it for 45 years and stay broke.
But you found something different.
Yes. And I mean, and I believe it's a calling. I mean, where it came from, that decision wasn't just made by me. I had to be there in Guatemala. On the way home, I quit my job. I fired my boss. And then I started. It was not the best strategy at the time, I must admit, because I had no strategy, but I knew I needed to do something different. And this was going to be, that values-based leadership process was going to be a huge part of it.
So you stepped out. You literally walked on water, literally took a step of faith.
Well, yes. On faith, because I walked out and I had no strategy. Well, yes, I could coach, and I've been in a John Maxwell team since 2012, so I had a lot of knowledge gained by that time as well. It's 2014 I quit, and then I went intentional. This is another very important thing in life. You need to become intentional, and I was fairly intentional in a lot of things I did. And in August 2014, I went to the John Maxwell Team training in Orlando. It's a certification training, international, and people from all over the world go there. And I went with the intention of finding somebody in Africa I could partner or collaborate with. I'm in Johannesburg now. I found my business partner, a good friend, and we started talking about this. And we said, this process is so powerful. We need to bring this everywhere. And so here I am. And we set up a leadership institute, and that's where the change happened.
Brilliant.
It was not an event. I wouldn't call it an event, because most people go to a concert, they go to a thing and they call it an event. They talk about it afterwards, how great it was. It was a life-changing transformation for me.
God, just want to say to those who are listening, guys, I'm hearing that, there's just an amazing process and journey here, taking that step of faith, putting ourselves intentionally in a bigger place where we can learn and grow and meet new people and build skills and try new things and discover that calling that Jan talked about. But not only that, being intentional about pursuing that, stepping away And, it's not always easy to step away from a secure thing, but stepping away by faith and believing and having faith in God to send the people necessary that will help you fulfill that vision, It's a massive inspirational story. Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. Yeah, let me ask you, on your journey as a leader, what's been your biggest challenge so far in leadership?
My biggest challenge is people. That might be a simple answer, but yes. Yeah. What I learned along the way is that although we are passionate about something, and so passionate sometimes it hurts, and we want something so bad for other people as well, but we can only lead others. They say we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make him drink.
Can you give us an example of a specific story where maybe you had a challenge with a person that is forever embedded in your mind?
Well, I've got quite a few different stories, but even a simple little story like we feel very passionate about not only about the making money side, but also about the giving back and helping communities. So we went to a community and we actually said, we will give of our time to give you values-based leadership. It's a 40-week process, and over the next few weeks we will run this for you and with you. And they were very engaging, wonderful people. They came from a shanty town, basically. And we went in there, and we were blessed to be able to go. There was a small church a guy had started, so we went there, and for me, it was wonderful because to listen to those people, we realized that we're all God's children, and we all have designs on visions and goals and dreams. Just some people have a lot more struggles with ever getting there, thinking they might never get there, or their goals might be much smaller, but yet much more meaningful to them than some of the bigger goals people have. And so we went in there and we started the process off, but they said, we don't want to entitle people, we want to empower people. So at some point, we want to look at other people who are going to take the facilitation, like we did in Guatemala, and we actually went to Paraguay in January this year to do this again and train 17,000 leaders there. But to see change happening in those countries, and then see.
So, what was the challenge that you faced with the people?
They wanted leadership, but they didn't want to lead. Does that make sense? So I've seen that a few times. There's plenty. There's more of these examples that people to talk about leadership. People once they start realizing what leadership really is, and let's face it, we're all leaders. So leadership begins with me, and that was the slogan we use in the values-based leadership. Transformation begins with me, because I'm a firm believer that we can't give what we haven't got, and therefore personal development has always been great. But
so what about
it's frustrating.
Someone listening right now, and maybe they're a leader coming through, and that nugget you said there, people, they wanted leadership, but they didn't want to lead. What's the lesson in that for us, do you think?
Connectivity. I think as leaders and as aspiring leaders, the biggest thing I've learned so far is that we need to not only connect with people, but connect with people at the level they're at. See, we all like to grow and develop, and while we are growing and developing sometimes, and that is probably one of my frustrations, that I must realize that not everybody is at the same level. Like John Maxwell has written the book 5 Levels of Leadership.
Sure.
All this information I keep getting, and I would say to people, connect with people. And there is a book called Becoming a Person of Influence. And John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And that for me is the simplest lesson, because what people don't realize, it's not influence over people, it's influence with people. And when you get influence with people, you need to go out and connect with people. And the first thing about connecting with people is listening.
It's good. Thank you.
Are you seriously fired up about growing as a leader in business or church-based ministry? Are you feeling somewhat frustrated about not having realized your full potential in what you've been called to do? Could you do with someone to help you get some extra clarity or to be a sounding board for your plans and ideas? Great athletes have coaches, so do great leaders. The right leadership coach for you will result in an increased sense of clarity, direction, and purpose, dramatically increasing the results you achieve. If you're ready to step up, contact Errol to book a free, no obligation introductory coaching session and see whether Errol is the right coach for you. Errol takes the lessons learned from his own leadership journey and from his extensive research to help leaders and entrepreneurs to step into their biggest challenges and rise to their next level. Email admin@errollawson.com right now to schedule your call.
Thank you, Jan. Let me ask you, Jan, what's now sort of a few years into your journey, certainly in leadership and coaching and speaking, how do you now define success at this stage in your journey? How do you define it?
Success for me is fairly simple. Some people don't understand it, but for me it's simple. Seeing other people succeed. Even seeing people going forward just a little bit in life on a daily basis, and knowing that I've been a tiny little part of that big wheel of life of theirs, that I've been able to encourage people. Money can never, ever pay the feeling you get. And this is fulfillment. And this is the difference between success and fulfillment, because success to me is one and the same. And I think that's why fulfillment comes in, is seeing other people succeed.
That's great.
And my biggest success is to seeing more people succeed. And and then the biggest success on top of that is seeing those people who are succeeding now starting to help other people. So we get this ripple effect and
multiplying.
And I mean, it's not about being in the limelight or something. It's being in the background, but knowing fine is that it's going from me to we, and knowing fine that we together we can make a difference.
It's great,
and,
man.
That to me is every day. It's an amazing. This glory doesn't belong to me, and as you and I both know. But I mean, it's to be able to be a tool in life, being used in life for the purpose we see ourselves.
Awesome.
Is just amazing.
And Jan, what is the first? I think John Maxwell said that the secret to success is hidden in your daily routine. What does the first 90 minutes of your day typically look like?
Typically, it looks like reading or listening. See, I don't start my day with internet or with email, or I have never bought a newspaper for more than 30 years. That's a personal choice. I rather buy positive books. I don't switch on the TV because a lot of people love watching the news. I thought if something happens that is important enough, somebody will tell me. And I've got stories about that. But I mean, for me, to get up in the morning and reading, I read something first, get some inspiring stories, and this could be from John Maxwell, from Les Brown, from Zig Ziglar, from a lot of inspiring posts, even success stories. But read something positive first thing in the morning.
That's
because
great.
as you know, the first 90 minutes are probably the first 10 minutes already, but the first 90 minutes are important. And if I decide sometimes I don't want to read, I listen to something positive. But that's my first part of the morning, is not deciding what I'm going to do. I've already done that the night before.
Sure.
But in that, I get up early enough that I can first inspire myself.
And filling our brain with just that positive information that will inspire us and set us up for the day. As a leader, what's your biggest weakness?
Taking on too much. I want to do so much so quickly. And I need to find out that I need to pace myself a bit more, because that is, at the end of the day, you look back and say, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. I think, being a little bit, because being positive, and I'm a very positive person, but that has frustrations with it as well, because sometimes we want stuff so quickly. And
so how do you manage that? How do you manage that? How do you prevent that happening?
I now prevent it happening most of the time. And I mean, I'm a human being, and we all falter along the way every now and then. But it's recognizing when you actually, start this, or when things don't happen. Yeah, I think you need to set, although optimistic, but you need to also be realistic and say, the meetings need to happen. And here in Johannesburg, traffic is absolutely tremendous. I mean, if you think the M25 has got problems, it's got nothing on this here. But we get cancellation and all that kind of stuff. But I always have a book. If I go to a meeting and it's cancelled, I just I always have a book with me or have something positive with me to listen. But during the day, now I know that when I take on too much, and the biggest thing is every now and then you need to say no.
It's great.
And it's not it's with the kindness in your heart. We can always say no, and Errol, for us to wanting to give and being of service to other people, it's always easy that you want to do that little bit more and a little bit more, and all of a sudden you find out you're going to do too much, and eventually you get you become ineffective. So to stay effective,
and that's it. And the flip side, then, what's your biggest strength?
People. My passion has always been people, and through the 30 years of personal development, I'm a great connector with people. I really get on with people well. I have a compassion for people as well. And when I left my oil industry and I finally started doing the things my heart told me, or I got told through my heart, is that I didn't feel as if I'd waited for 30 years. I felt as if I'd been prepared for 30 years. And even in my job, I didn't even know I was coaching until I knew what coaching was, because I did exactly that kind of stuff. But I always help people. And I think it's in leadership as well. You will never. Yes, you need to make decisions that sometimes people don't like, and luckily in our business we don't have to make so many of those kind of decisions because we actually train others. But to actually have this compassion and the passion for people, I think. We need to remember we all want to be. I think doesn't matter what level of people are. And I mean, I don't even go 2 miles down the road here or 3 kilometers for those in the different countries to go into an area where there are shanty towns as far as the eye can see. But we need to realize that all the basic needs people want. They want to be valued, honored, and respected for who they are as normal human beings, regardless of creed, color, and historical difference and religion.
It's good.
We're all God's children.
Amen. And Jan, just going back, and I love what you said there. If we go back to the beginning of your leadership journey, when you first started out in leading others and leading teams and organizations, what, if anything, was holding you back, stopping you from stepping out?
The fear of not being good enough. I think, at the very beginning, not so much the fear of failure, because in the oil industry, I was leading teams all the time. And yes, that brought with us a lot of challenges. Challenges I never thought about, because when you're away from home that much and you've people as well, and then stuff happens at home and there's challenges, and there's a lot of challenges in that, and that gave me greater insight into people skills. But for me, what was holding me back is some of the luggage I got from all the way back from the bullying. Is even though I was doing personal development all the time, and I've done this for a long time, but initially is to wonder if I was ever good enough.
Wow. Can you give? I mean, there's a leader listening right now. They're a man or woman that may be feeling that same way right now. Can you just give us speak into that, speak to them, if you will, and help them to move beyond that?
Whether you have whatever your fear is, and as it's false evidence appearing real. It's generally known, but whatever that fear is, first of all, we need to find out our own why. I think Simon Sinek talks about this, and he's got a great TED talk, "Find Your Why," and he's got a great book about it as well. But it is true, because unless we really have something that is bigger than ourselves, we are quickly finding obstacles which are bigger than our vision. And we sit back and comfort, so we get frustrated. But all those people, if they're out there just now, people who have a fear, and whether it's a fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of not being good enough, whatever the fear is, I think finding your passion is the first thing. And then to get there, I would now say, and not because I'm a coach, because coaching is one of the lesser things I do quite as much of, but get somebody to mentor you, get somebody to coach, get somebody to bring the best out in you, because it helps. If you sit on your own, you overthink. We always overthink things. Human beings make things complicated. When we've been given the tools, we can Google. Somebody said if reading things would make you successful, then a librarian would be one of the most successful people in the world, and we would all be skinny, rich, and happy. But we need to take a few steps. I think when we know what we want, we need to start up. When we read about things and say that's a good idea, or we know what we want, apply it.
Yeah,
that's the second step. And the third step, I would say, is evaluate what you've just applied, because that's where we get the experience. You see, people say, if you keep doing things over and over and you do them wrong, that doesn't make you any better. That makes you more wrong. So I think at the end of the day, and I mean every day, not just at the end of your life, but at the end of the day, I think what have you done today? How did you feel about what you've done? And what are the lessons you learned today? Because, I do this regularly, and sometimes there's no point in beating yourself up, because sometimes we win, sometimes we learn.
Yes.
And we only learn when we look at what did we do during the day. Most people don't do it. They make a mistake, or they do something and it didn't quite work, and they go
reflection, right?
Reflect, and that is a huge thing, I think, because coaching. Find a coach. Find somebody who can help you.
Yeah,
and that might be a coach. It might even be a good friend. But find somebody who will give you honest feedback, and if not, get a coach. They are not that expensive as people think. We hear all these big people. All these successful people have got coaches, but you can find somebody who's fairly inexpensive. And otherwise, even if a friend will hold you accountable, but be accountable. Apply what you've learned, apply what you know, and then evaluate and reflect on what you've just done and learn from your experiences.
Can I ask you, Jan, and that's great advice, like who have your top 3 mentors been in your journey? Tell us your top 3.
First of all, I must say my dad.
Okay.
And the reason for that is he probably doesn't know it so much, but I never knew at 40. Like, I'm originally from the Netherlands, and then we emigrated to Scotland in the 70s, and I never realized the impact it had. My dad at 40 decided to do something different as well, and he took a family of 5 young kids to Scotland. He didn't even know what he was going to do, but he knew he wanted to change. And I have personally seen, and I live it now, because they say if you love what you do, you never work another day in your life. Yes, my dad has worked hard. He's just turned 79. He still wears his Dutch clogs. He still does what he likes. He still works because he loves what he does, and he's never worked another day in life. So that's been very inspirational.
Okay.
And, going to church with him and listening to him, and we have a lot of conversations still. And as a youth, we don't think that our parents have got a lot of wisdom, because we know it all. And it's only when you get to an age where you've got kids that you reckon, you find out, okay, maybe there is some wisdom in our parents after all. But no, it's great. My second one, of course, John Maxwell.
Okay.
He's been a great influence in my life. A lot of, through reading a lot of books, there's been a lot of these kind of people who've been a positive influence. But because I'm very close in the mentorship of John Maxwell as well, and I'm with him a bit more now. John Maxwell is the second one. He has taught me a lot about the right things to do in leadership and in life, because he comes from a pastoral background, and he will never hide this. We've got people from all kinds of denominations in the John Maxwell team. There's now 11,500 people in the team. But we have, for most people, like I was there 4 weeks ago in Orlando, and for most people there's maybe a 45-minute interdenominational worship. And you don't have to come. There's 3,500 people there. You don't have to go to that if you don't want to. But out of the 3,500 people, I think most of them are there. And they said, some of them, and a lot of them said that was the best part of the whole week. And that's because John Maxwell practices what he preaches, and he's also a people person. So yes, he's had a lot of influence, and he continues to have a lot of influence. Number 3, Les Brown.
Okay.
I said Les Brown. I said 25 years ago, if anybody's ever going to teach me to speak, it's going to be Les Brown or nobody. And be careful what you wish for, because Les Brown became another personal mentor of mine. And, he actually, he speaks so much into my life as well, the way he talks. I mean, he's got a compassion over people. He sits in the crowd. He actually gets into he finds out what people need to hear rather than what he wants to say. Let
me dig in a bit, right, to those 3 relationships. So your dad, John, and Les, tell us, what was the biggest piece of wisdom you've gotten from each of those 3 individuals? So your dad, first of all, and John, then Les. Biggest piece of wisdom you've gotten?
The biggest piece of wisdom from my dad. follow your heart.
Okay.
I think, I mean, it's I can elaborate on it, but I mean, follow your heart. And
Okay.
and he's shown this. He's actually practiced it, what he preaches, because he, at 40, he followed his heart and he did something different. And, you know, it's amazing. My parents are luckily both still alive, and they've got such great qualities for me to follow, and which I recognized much later than I probably should have. But yes, that's what.
So follow your heart. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. And John?
Then John Maxwell. I would say live intentionally, and it's come out in a book from him, Intentional Living, which actually came from Guatemala, where he saw that, you know, living intentionally is to do something. Where I got this from, and I talk a lot about intentional living in my speaking as well, because John says, you know, a lot of people have great intentions, but people with good intentions do something good occasionally. People who live intentionally do something good continuously. And there I understood that if you start, and it's not about doing things for yourself, much more for others. And what I felt this at most is that when you start getting this fulfillment feeling that you do things for other people, regardless whether they can ever pay you back or something, whether sometimes they don't even know that you've done something, you know, anonymously. But he's got so much wisdom. But at this precise moment, intentional living is for me
brilliant,
the best advice.
And tell us about Les.
Oh, Les! Oh, man. But, you know, I was actually listening to him earlier on for an hour today as well. I had some quiet time in a meeting of council, so I put Les on. Another good thing: always have something positive. When something doesn't quite work out the way you feel it should, or the way you thought it would, grab something positive. And Les Brown, I mean, I can listen to him every day, and I've listened to some of his stuff.
So what was that nugget then from him? The best piece of wisdom from him, you've had.
Yeah, well, yeah. And he quotes somebody else, but he says, "All you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do."
That's good.
And from that, he's got a lot of. Les is the.
I love that. I love that.
And the other thing he said is, don't ever let anybody else's opinion of you become your reality. So I think those two things will
amazing. Thank you. And we're almost done now, Jan. Right? What's the one thing you're most fired up about right now?
Fired up that, and I mean, sometimes I don't even know how to sleep because I'm excited about the fact that we can make a difference. And you know, as far as values-based leadership, it's a process. And when we took armies into these two countries so far. There's now 22 countries and presidents have asked us to come. But I said this, you know, and this is whether it's in the UK or wherever the listeners are in Africa or in the United States, it doesn't matter. But I believe we can all make a difference where we are with what we've got when we can. And, you know, yes, we want to all develop and we want to be bigger and better. But I said, this process, we don't need to. There is enough people in our own countries, on our own doorsteps, whether it's in London, in Birmingham, or in Venice in Scotland, or Johannesburg. There's enough people who have a passion, who want to make a difference in their communities and in their countries. And I say to people, let's find these people, let's train them, let's make a difference together. And this is, I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about this. And this is my passion. We have a vision. Go big, Les Brown says, go big or go home. Me and my business partner said, you know, we're not just going to change the lives of a few people. Our vision is to change millions of lives.
Awesome.
But we're not going to do this. We are not conceited that we do this alone. We have a lot of help from above, and we need a lot of people, like-minded people, to come together and let's do this together, because it's only together we'll be strong and we can do it.
Brilliant, man. And last thing, you know, what is there a book or a resource you'd recommend for a leader or entrepreneur that's listening right now?
There is several books, and I mean, of course, I'm going to pick John Maxwell books because of especially when we're talking about leadership. There is several books, and one of the books I would highly recommend is Intentional Living. And the reason I do that one is because it talks the whole process of intentional living, how you can actually get into it, how you can, you know, look back on the end of your day and feel that you've actually more fulfilled and you've done more. Another book is Good Leaders Ask Great Questions.
Okay.
Another wonderful book, and I mean there is many more, but I would between that two, and then it's got, I mean, John Maxwell's biggest book so far is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, but he's also got 15 laws of personal development. And the reason I say that is because it is always easy when we get busy that we forget to grow ourselves. You know, and we need this. We owe it not only to ourselves, but we, you know, when the cup empties, we need to keep filling it. We can't keep giving and thinking it's going to go on forever.
Brilliant,
I think one of the things is, you know, if you are on a path of personal development, whether it's towards leadership or towards developing yourself, because at first you need to develop yourself because you can't give what you haven't got. So whether you're a youth just now and you want to actually do something positive in your school, whether you want to do something positive in your university, when you actually want to do something positive in your communities, don't wait and don't try to figure it out and overcomplicate it. Do it. You know, whatever it is you want to do right now is the right thing right now. But in the same time, never forget, keep developing yourself. You owe it to yourself and to others.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate you, man. You know, guys listening, please go and do follow up. Check out Jan and his work. Jan, give us the websites, please, and your contact details.
Yes, it's www.keyleadershipinstitute.com. Key Leadership Institute is one word.
How are you spelling that? K-I?
K-I, and then Leadership Institute. So keyleadershipinstitute.com. And, you know, if people ever want any information, you know, send me an email. You can actually get it on the website, or it's jan.roberts@keyleadershipinstitute.com. Drop me a mail. I'll be always honored and a privilege to give any advice or to help anybody any way I can, or if they want some information about the sources I can help them with, it'll be an honor and a privilege.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jan, for your time today. God bless you. God bless the work that you're doing. You're inspiring people, men and women all around the world through your work and your message. We thank God for you. Thank you for your time today, Jan.
Errol, it's been a pleasure, and it's finally great to actually meet you. And I mean, I really appreciate all the work you do as well. And we're brothers from a different mother, and we're blessed by the same God. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you again for joining us today on the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast. I pray you've been inspired, you've been lifted, you've been encouraged to take your personal leadership to the next level. We really encourage you guys to just take action, make it happen, do something, start somewhere, go out and change the world in some way, big or small. Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, please share with your friends, share with your loved ones, your colleagues, someone out there you think might benefit from hearing this great content. And if you want some more questions answering, you got a question, email me, Errol@errollawson.com. Or if you want a free 30 to 45 minute coaching session with myself around the leadership challenge or issue you're working on in your business, your church, or in your organization, please feel free to email me right away. We'll get you booked in. It's Errol@errollawson.com. Thank you again for listening. Go to our iTunes page, check it out, check out the previous episodes. Give us a nice review, that would be awesome. Really appreciate if you could do that for us. We really appreciate you just for being here and listening. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Rising Generation.